Hello and welcome to the Greenlight for Girls Atelier office with your g4g team, Alex and Indra. So on today's broadcast, we heard from some amazing speakers who are using ingenious ways to transform their work. But even if you're not going to create the next electronic tool or join in on a Mars simulation, you can still look around you at all the different ways you can make a difference. And one way that you could start is by looking at something that's everywhere around you: plastic.
Exactly. So we all know the big role that plastic plays in helping us solve big challenges and reaching big goals, like protecting the environment and thinking sustainable. So today we are going to show you how, if we add a little bit of that science magic into the equation, we can find new solutions and make a big difference. So what is the challenge? The challenge is, how can we think about plastics in new ways? How can we reinvent plastics to actually be something that serves both us and the planet? And how are we going to do that? Well, we are simply going to look at plastics in a new way by actually getting hands-on, being inspired, and creating our very own homemade plant-based bioplastic. As in any good experiment, we first have to get ourselves started by setting our materials. What actually a lot of people don't know is that plastic can not only be made from petroleum, which is a finite resource, but actually from all plant-based materials. So these are our magic ingredients that we have with us today to make bioplastic. 1. Cornstarch, water, vinegar, secret ingredient glycerin or glycerol, and for the wow effect, some food coloring.
So now that we've seen all the materials needed to make this super cool homemade plastic, it gets me thinking to what we can actually use from it. And for example, I love so many things that are made out of plastic, and in particular I'm thinking about my phone cover, because without it, it would be completely smashed, my poor cell phone. But my question to you is, what would be beneficial to you to have in your daily life that's made out of bioplastic? Now, let's get started to see how we can actually do this.
All right, let's make bioplastic. We know all our ingredients, and we're gonna start mixing them. So we're gonna start off by 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. What does the cornstarch do? It is actually our natural polymer, which means that instead of petroleum, we are using cornstarch as a natural polymer, which is a long, long chain of molecules. Next up, water. What does water do? 8 tablespoons. It is our solvent. And actually, it is also what keeps the molecules nice and excited when we later on put all our ingredients onto the stove and heat them up. 8 tablespoons of water. Okay. And then we have our vinegar. 2 teaspoons of vinegar. Why are we adding vinegar? Well, it is actually what is going to break down the starch molecules. And last but not least, we're adding our secret magic ingredient of glycerin or glycerol, which is what will keep our plant-based plastic nice and flexible. All right. Ready to start mixing it up. We have to make sure that all of the ingredients we put in our pot are nice and mixed and smooth. Okay, starting. There we go. Okay, we're ready to heat up the mix and get our molecules excited. We're going to start on not so high heat, maybe like 3 or 4. And we have to make sure that we keep mixing continuously and slowly, because what we're going to see is that we're going to turn this mix into a gel-like consistence. So this is where we need a little bit of patience. So now that we've been mixing nice and continuously, we can see that our plant-based plastic is starting to turn into a gel-like consistency. Can you see that? So, as we love being colorful and always like to have a wow effect in everything we do, we're going to add 2, 3, 4. Just some food coloring. And turning into a beautiful, colorful gel. And now we're just going to keep mixing until we've achieved a transparent texture.
So while the solution is thickening, we have one last question for you. Now, of course, we're being inspired by the companies that are reinventing with plastic and all the innovation behind it. For example, there are many products like cutlery, plastic bags, gift cards, and so many others that are now using this type of biodegradable plastic. So the question for you is, how would your world change? How would the world of those in your community change if there are more products being made with this type of plastic? Tell us in the chat now. We look forward to hearing your answer.
Okay, so we have been observing how we have been creating an amazing gel-like consistency. I think our bioplastic is ready to be poured. So, next step, pour out your mixture onto a sheet of aluminum foil. Isn't that beautiful? So it has time and space to dry and harden. And now you can make parts where you spread it out thinner and other parts where you maybe keep it a little bit thicker. I love the effect of this. And there we go. So after about 1 hour, you will be able to start molding your mixture. This one is not quite there yet. However, this is how our results can look like. Here we have plastic that has taken about 1 day to harden. So you can see these are our thicker pieces that are really nice and flexible due to the glycerin that we used. But then we also have these little thinner parts that have this really cool peel-off effect. And so you see there's lots of cool ways that we can play with our results. Also, for an extra fun element, you could always decide to use, for example, a mold and make fun shapes out of your plant-based plastic. All right, so experimenting with this, we see that if we use our ingenuity, amazingly simple things that are all around us can lead to really big ideas that can change the world. So experimenting, exploring, being curious about what you do can spark your own ability to see the world in a whole new way and to create new solutions. So remember, anything is possible. You can reinvent and redesign your own world and the world of your community around you. That being said, we cannot wait to see you on the next episode of Science, You Had Me at Hello!